Natasha from CDK Stone. Welcome to another episode of our designer collaboration series. I'm here at Pearl Beach with the beautiful Tegan of Studio Joan. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Oh, thanks for inviting me to be part of this series.
Absolutely, this project is absolutely stunning. We're here literally on the water at Pearl Beach. Tell me a bit about Studio Joan and how it came to be.
Yeah, so it's me and come about because in my early 20s I sort of had some experience, working for some amazing firms in the city, and after a few years just realising that it was time for me to flex my own design skills and work at my own pace. And yeah, just evolved from there, evolved through motherhood and, the whole thing. So here we are.
So exciting. I think you can definitely see sort of the Tegan vibe throughout this place. Tell me a bit about how this project came to be, being based in Wollongong.
Yeah.
How did you sort of land with a project in Pearl Beach?
Yeah. Well, my husband is an architect and he works for a firm in Cronulla, and his lovely boss goes to a architect's breakfast once a month or once every few months. And the architect on this project was chatting with him and said, who do you use for interiors? We've got this residential project coming up. And he luckily referred me, and it was one phone call with the client and we just hit it off and it just went from there.
What brief did the client give you that sort of led you in this direction?
Well, there wasn't really much of a brief really. It was kind of like an open, like the dream project. It was basically just the architect that, had come up with this sort of quite modern take on a beachcomber style residence. And, initially you sort of think, based on the architecture, it should be quite minimal and clean inside, but I knew that this was a family holiday home and they're going to be growing with their children and then eventually grandchildren, and I just wanted it to be able to grow with them and be like colourful and textural so that nothing looked out of place when there's lots of people here and they want to bring in their own, cushions and decor and all of that. It just needed to feel like layered and that you can add to it as they grow.
Yeah, and I think it's got a really nice sort of warmth and hominess. You can feel it like as soon as you walk in the door. Yeah. It's so welcoming. How did the palette sort of play into that?
I think I just, it is a lot with the stone. I think that's kind of one of the main things I get the client to choose first, and then I can build the palette from there. Without sounding cliche, the sort of the natural landscape around this home is, the sand, the water, the trees. And when I saw this stone, I just immediately felt calm, and like the movement and colour through it really reflected that. So I think that's kind of the main thing that started the building blocks to the palette. And then we just went from there, and I'm such a sucker for anything that's textural and natural and earthy. And, to some people that might feel a bit over the top for a very minimalist house, but I think that's what makes it feel warm and takes it away from just being like run of the mill or something that you've seen 1,000 times.
100%. And I think because you started sort of with this Capanna as that base palette and you worked on top of that, and we landed with the Monreale and the Breccia Pernice in the bathrooms, it all really ties that picture together.
Yeah.
I know you personally love Monreale, it's
yes.
one of your favourites.
It's my favourite.
How did you go about sort of working those textures together? Because you've got some beautiful sort of ceramic tiles in there, and how did that play?
Yeah, I find the Monreale quite inspiring because it's got so much movement and like some stronger colours and then some more subtle, and I feel like you can really pick out like that beautiful Merlot colour in it, and we sort of try to pull that a lot in the bathroom tiles and some of the furniture, and it just kind of gives the home a real pop. And everything's quite white and clean, but bringing those sort of stronger colours in really helps lift the space and make it feel warm. Another thing is that I love pink. I know it can be quite feminine, and like maybe some male clients might kind of resist it a little bit, but when we went to the showroom, it was so amazing for the client to actually see the slab, especially with the Breccia, and just know that it doesn't have to be ultra feminine to work. And it just makes the home feel like really cozy and welcoming.
Yeah. Tegan, tell me a bit about the decision behind pairing this concrete island with the Capanna Marble and the backsplash.
Yes, so I love mixing materials, and I just didn't want the island bench to be too overpowering to the splashback. I think the Capanna needs its own breathing space and its own moment. So the decision to bring in a really sturdy concrete island was just to give that contrast and let the marble really shine. And this bench also needs to be really hardworking and prepping and meals, and I think the concrete was a really good decision for that use.
Yeah, I think it's a really good example. We often have people asking, how do you pair different stones or finishes on an island and a backsplash? And I think it ties in perfectly to sort of that grey movement in the veins as well.
I think it's important to understand and decide what your main feature is going to be, and you don't want anything to compete with that. You can add sort of complementary finishes that have beautiful texture, but I think maybe bringing in too many strong colours that are competing are kind of overwhelming to the eye, which is why we sort of pared back the island. You know, it's quite lithic and thick, but it's just very simple in colour and texture.
Yeah, I think it ties in really nicely with the overall scheme of the house as well, being quite contemporary, but still quite sophisticated and homey. How did you sort of make the decision, I guess, to carry that feeling through the whole house and into the bathrooms and those other areas?
Yeah. So I guess for me, adding layers to a home is where you find joy, and that inviting feeling when you walk in here really comes to life by layering materials. So I think, you know, taking inspiration from the Monreale, bringing that into the bathrooms, it really helped, you know, sort of pick out those stronger colours, and then I layered from there. So, you know, the sort of dusty pink floor tile and the limestone wall tiles as the feature bathrooms. And then in the secondary bathrooms, we went with a more simple floor, but the stronger stone. And then with the Breccia, we picked up on the little green notes and added those in like wall lights. And then if the client, you know, decides to buy some green towels and things, just to make those colours pop and add further layer.
Amazing. I think we have to talk about the bar downstairs.
Yes.
It's absolutely amazing. Probably my favourite part
Really
personally.
bougie.
But yeah, it does. It feels really quite sophisticated, but it still sort of opens up and becomes this beautiful sort of alfresco entertaining area.
Yes, it'll be so amazing in summer down there. And I can just imagine all the kids like hanging on the sofa, and the parents can have a wine or a cocktail while they're like cooking the barbecue. And yeah, the little bar is super cute, and the little brass shelves that we got made really lift it and make it feel a little bit special.
Yeah.
And there's also little strip lighting under there, so at night you can just have that on while you're like, you know, relaxing, watching a movie with a nice little drink.
As a designer, what's your favourite part of this project?
It's so hard to pick something that's my favourite, but I do really love the master ensuite. I think if I had to really pick, just the mix of colour and texture in there, I don't know, I could just spend all day getting ready in there.
100%. I think something that's really special about this place and your style of design is the detail work and those beautiful trims in the bathrooms and how they all interplay with sort of painting the bigger picture texturally.
Yeah.
How do you sort of make those design decisions?
Oh, this is the thing, like I think through a designer's career you sort of wonder, what is my signature style, and you know, what is my favourite style to do? And you know, some people might really know that and it's quite evident, but for me, I still can't put my finger on it. But yeah, I think it's just my pull towards natural materials and texture and things that are created from the earth and anything that's warm.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having us here today, Tegan. This project is absolutely amazing. We're so lucky to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you to the whole CDK team for just being so easy to deal with and bringing this to life.
You're welcome.